Welcome back everyone, Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmITheDevil for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the posts, giving you my own opinion, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Posted to r/relationship advice. My 25 male, girlfriend, 23 female, is upset at something I did before we were officially together. How can we not let it ruin our relationship? My girlfriend and I have a really great relationship. Before this situation came out, our relationship was great. She repeatedly told me that this was the best relationship she has had, and how we communicate very well. We've been together officially about 9 months and been planning our 1-year anniversary. Before we were officially together, we were seeing each other and did this for 7 months before making it official. The reason it took so long is because when I commit, I commit. And I'm not going to commit until I know I can give 200%. And she even says I'm the best relationship she has had. The issue she has, because during our seeing each other stage, I hooked up with someone in her inner circle. She recently found out because her friend told her, not out of guilt, but out of jealousy for our relationship. I can go on, but she's not a good person. Most of my girlfriend's friends are great people, but this woman showed her character. Either way, this hurt my girlfriend when she found out. One, because it was her friend, and I can say I was wrong and take full accountability for that. The other part is the fact that I was sleeping with others before we were official, but that was more of a miscommunication. She was under the impression that I wasn't sleeping with other people and just too busy to make it official. I had told her I don't want to commit until I can fully dedicate 200% and be the boyfriend she deserves. Just a misunderstanding and miscommunication. We aren't at a risk of breaking up, but she's been distant and just wants to take initiative so this doesn't fester in our relationship. Sorry, babe, one of the reasons why I wasn't able to commit 200% of my time to you is because I was committing 100% of that to fucking one of your friends. What do you mean you're upset with me? Like, buddy, you got a really delicate tightrope to walk here because she has every justification to break up with you for this. Like, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. And I've been in her position before. Bit of a college fling that kind of backfired because the person that I was interested in was, let's just say, had their eyes on multiple people and not just me. Like, to put it in perspective, if you're interested in someone and like you two are going on constant dates and like, you're really serious about possibly, pushing things to the next level of the relationship, but you find out they're also going on dates with other people and having one-night stands with a bunch of others, you'd feel kind of like, well, I guess they're not taking the relationship seriously. But to find that out, like, deep into the relationship would that just stings. Like, especially because of the fact that he delayed making them official so he could continue seeing one of her friends. Like, that's definitely just, That's just my emotional response. Maybe I'm out of the norm on this, but I feel like that's a pretty common decency to have for the person you're interested in. But maybe I'm just wrong here. I don't know. But yeah, no, the guy is definitely in the wrong, and I wouldn't be surprised if he thinks they're doing all right and this isn't a relationship ending issue, but she's actively looking for a way out. Because I'd be pretty brokenhearted if I found out that one of the reasons my partners didn't want to commit to me was because they were sleeping with one of my friends. This one was posted to r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for apologizing to my mom on behalf of my wife so we could have a smooth family day meetup? My wife and I have been married for 1.5 years and we have a 7-month-old toddler. We've both gotten along with our respective in-laws really well and have never really had any issues. Last week, my wife and my mom had gotten into a verbal spat regarding not sending photos of our son to her. Apparently, my mother-in-law had forwarded some photos of a while back. I wasn't there when the call happened and heard 2 very different sides of the story. According to my wife, my mom had said it's her right as a grandmother to be kept in the loop and my wife's duty to do so. According to my mom, she said she would like to be included and would also like to be sent photos if possible. We had a family day weekend, got cut short due to the weather, hangout planned with my sister and her family. My sister took my mom's side. We talked and it was clear she thought my wife was in the wrong. On Wednesday, I was talking to my mom and the whole argument got rehashed and it just slipped out from my mouth that my wife was really sorry about what she said. I then pressed my mom to bury the hatchet too. My sister learned about it and was cool with it too. Our get-together at my sister's went well and everyone was cordial. When we got back, my wife said she was pleasantly surprised at how welcoming my sister was, all things considered. She then asked me if I had said anything. I said I'd pressed everyone to get over it. She asked if I'd apologized on her behalf. I said yes, that it slipped out, but I ran with it. She got extremely angry, said she regrets going, and now wants me to either make it clear that she's not sorry or she won't be meeting my mom or sister anymore. I think now that everyone has gotten over it, what good could that do? I do get her point of view that she feels I shouldn't have spoken on her behalf, but I just thought I'm the only one who actually ended up apologizing and everyone got past it. Am I the asshole? Yeah, you definitely should not have apologized on your wife's behalf and then rolled with it because it seemed to make everything better. Yeah, sure, the little white lie definitely made things more tolerable for the time being, but eventually it's going to come out and things are just going to get rehashed and suddenly you're going to be the one in the focus center of it. Not to mention, it's just not fair to your wife to have her be the one who's forced to apologize by you apologizing for her and putting her in the position where she's by default in the wrong here. Especially when, by the sounds of it, it sounds like your mother is mad at your wife because she didn't send baby pictures. Why weren't you sending baby pictures? Why was it entirely up to your wife as being her responsibility to send your mother baby photos? On one hand, you have your mother saying, "Oh, I just wanted to be kept in the loop." Then why was it a verbal spat? Why was it a verbal spat if she just said she wanted to be kept in the loop? Why would there be a verbal spat? It makes a lot more sense for the verbal spat to occur if your mother was claiming that it's the wife's responsibility to keep her in the loop. Because that makes a lot more sense for why they would have been fighting and even entered the spat in the first place. Like, from what you described, it very much sounds like your mother instigated, and then you, on behalf of your wife, just apologized to your mother for her instigations because your wife didn't fall in line. Of course your wife is going to be upset, dude. And yeah, your sister's not going to take your wife's side because she's only getting one side of the argument from your mother, who of course is then going to have a biased relationship with her mother and be more likely to side with her than your wife. So like in this instance, like of course you're going to have more people on your side of the family that are siding against your wife. And I understand there's the social pressure to then try to mend things up, but you shouldn't be apologizing on behalf of your wife because then it automatically throws her in the position where she's, no matter what, in the wrong, even if she was the one who was in the right and was instigated on by your mother. Like that's why your wife is so upset, dude. Am I the asshole? Relationships. Am I the asshole for breaking up with my girlfriend over 4-leaf clovers? Throwaway because my ex knows of my main account. Some background. I, female 21, and my now ex-girlfriend, female 22, had been together for 2 years. And last spring, we decided to go on a 4-leaf clover hunting date. She didn't find any, but I found 3 of them. Ever since I was young, I had a special luck with finding them. I have a collection of them, actually. I find them without even looking. M, my ex, has also been searching for 4-leaf clovers since she was young. She's never found one. Ever. So, naturally, I brag about it. It's always been like a fun little playful thing between us. I'm just luckier than her, I guess. Anyway, to yesterday, the problem. We went on a 4-leaf clover date again. Within the first 10 minutes, she finds her first ever 4-leaf clover. We cheer and I take her picture with it. I'm happy for her, but I'm also upset because I wanted to have been the one who found the first one. It's my thing. We keep looking for another 10 minutes and I find one. So I hate life a little less. I found another. She cheers for me and we move on, looking at different clover patches. This is where everything actually goes to hell for me. I hear her yell excitedly and I think she's just found another one. I tell her cool and move on. She runs up to me and shows me a fucking 6-leaf clover. I just stare at her. I grab it out of her hand. What the fuck? How does someone who has never found a 4-leaf clover find a 6-leaf clover? Those odds are literally insane. I look at it closely to make sure she's not either lying just to get at me or that she's not stupid and it's actually just 2 clovers stuck together or something. But no, it's actually a 6-leaf clover. I'm actually so pissed. Why did she get to find the 6-leaf clover? Hello? Who finds a 6-leaf clover? So anyway, I tell her that's insane and I'm taking it. She gets sad and says, nuh-uh, she found it. It's hers. We start arguing about who deserves a clover. I tell her I do, because I'm a veteran clover hunter and deserve this to be in my collection. She goes on about it being sentimental or something. She does that stupid manipulation tactic where she starts fucking crying to make me feel bad. It's bullshit, honestly. I tell her to suck it up. I'm keeping the Clover. She huffs and wanders off to the car in tears. Whatever. She was being ridiculous. I take my time and look around some more and find 2 more Clovers. I got bored and decided to leave and see if she's done pouting. She sat in the fucking back seats with her arms crossed. I tell her to stop being dramatic and get into the front seat. She fucking snaps. She starts screaming, calling me all sorts of nasty names. She said I'm manipulative, controlling, and all kinds of other bullshit. I have never in my entire fucking life been called any of those words, so I'm not sure where she got it from. I just looked at her while she screamed and hit the back of my seat. She finished screaming like an idiot, and I let a few minutes of silence go by. She asked me if I was going to say anything. I shrugged at her, because, what does she want from me? She told me to go fuck myself and to take her home. I shrugged again and pulled out with her in the back seat. She lives a decent drive from the park where we were Clover picking, so the car ride was tense and awkward. She would just randomly sniffle and it started to get on my nerves, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want to hear her bitch anymore. About 15 minutes into our ride, I decided I couldn't have this anymore. This isn't the first time this has happened. She is so selfish and never lets me have anything to myself and never listens to my side of things. She always does this type of crying shit and then says she just wants me to be nice to her, which I am. I don't know. So anyway, we're 15 minutes into her ride and I speak up and tell her I think we need to break up. She lets out a noise like scoffing at me and I don't like that. So I just decide to give it to her. I told her how I think she should have given me the Clover because it was the right thing to do. And she's incredibly selfish for not wanting to give it up and see me happy. She stayed silent until we got to her house. As she was getting out of the car, she told me that I'm the biggest asshole she has ever encountered and she can't believe she let herself love me, blah, 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 blah. I'm not an asshole, at least I don't think I am. I told my friend about this and he thinks we're both assholes, so I don't know. I need more opinions. Link to a picture of the 6-leaf clover so you know I'm not bullshitting. So that was just incredibly fun, but also very frustrating to read, because it's very rare that I get to just unequivocally read something as a complete fucking villain. So I haven't really encountered a lot of lesbian mean girls, so I don't know if this is like a common thing in specific areas of like lesbian dating communities. So please let me know, because if you could not tell, I would have no fucking idea. However, I am aware that people that are this self-obsessed can be just lacking the self-awareness that would lead to a post like this being created. So I do think people like this can actually exist. But one thing that I do want to point out is that one of the comments said that this could actually just be a rage bait post by someone who just really doesn't like lesbians and wants to kind of promote them as being childish and just insecure and goofy. Like, I can see Clover hunting being a real thing, but then escalating it to this kind of dramatic reaction definitely raises a few eyebrows, and I could see some of those theories being correct. But keep in mind they are also tinfoil hat theories, because people like this do in fact exist, and the reason why these posts normally end up popping up is because the craziest of individuals tend to get the most attention on Reddit. Also, once again, looking at the quote-unquote 6-leaf clover, considering how thick the stem is and just the general geometry of it, to me, which I am no botanist, it kind of just looks like 2 3-leaf clovers stacked on top of each other, one with really big leaves and the other one with smaller leaves. But I don't know. I could be entirely incorrect, and with the general geometry of a 6-leaf clover, there is the possibility that when they went to go preserve it so it wouldn't, dehydrate or die, that it just kind of, squished down and made the leaves kind of stack on top of each other. I don't think there's any debate that this person is the asshole. At least I would fucking hope there's not, because this is written by a villain. The tone of voice that I was using is what came naturally from the way this was linguistically written. So I very much hope we can all agree that this person is actually just a very abusive partner and in no way, shape, or form a decent person. I hope there's no argument in the comments about that. The real question should be, is this real or is this fake? Just genuine question there. Posted to r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for telling my fiance to stop being a brat? My fiance and mom are fighting because my fiance wanted a wedding at this lake in the mountains that she talked about before the engagement. We visited every year, and it's almost tradition to hike up there and camp there, and there is more hiking past that point that we make a long weekend out of it. My mom is not happy. because she's not fit enough for the hike. Her family is because they're hikers, but my mom has knee issues and is overweight and cannot do anything too difficult. This hike is 6 kilometers to get to the lake, and everyone in the wedding party can do it. My fiance agreed, but then wanted to do it in her aunt's backyard. Her aunt has the nicest backyard out of the people we know, but I wouldn't say it's still very nice. She said she was just going to buy some string lights and an arch and do it there. I've been to the backyard and it's not bad, it just has garden beds and chickens in the corner, which my mom isn't happy with. My mom wants a formal location and is arguing the backyard spot is punishing her from her first option. My fiance denies it and says it's because she doesn't want to pay for a ceremony spot and she thinks the backyard is the prettiest spot that's free. We look for some public parts, but they get very crowded and renting them is already not an option as they're mostly filled up. My mom found a rental spot in a building with a decorative wall and benches that costs $1,200 for a 2-hour rental, and it's something she felt like is pretty enough for a wedding. This is the cheapest option other than the parks we came across. My fiance refuses to pay for it even though she agreed to half, and told my mom if she wants to dictate the spot, she needs to pay for it. My mom is taking it as her punishing her for not letting the wedding happen at the lake. They're arguing, and I think my fiance and I each paying for half is an easy fix, and she's making it difficult for no reason. She refuses to make any compromises and told my mom if she doesn't want the wedding at her aunt's backyard, then she doesn't have to come. We argued about it as well, and I called her a brat because it's her way or the highway, and she called me an asshole. I don't know why this is such a huge compromise to her, but am I the asshole? Dude, your mom is the fucking brat. Like, what are you talking about? Like, let's go with the timeline here. Your fiance had a wedding location in mind that was important to both of you, but it required a 6-kilometer hike. Your mother, because of her knees, can't go on the 6-kilometer hike. So your fiance finds a new location to accommodate your mother, goes against where she wanted to have her dream wedding so your mother could be there. So she finds her aunt's backyard, which as your own admission is a nice backyard, and it's free. But because there's chickens, oh no, that's not acceptable for your mother. So she goes and finds a new venue that your fiance doesn't like and also costs money. So she says, hey, if you want us to have the wedding at this location, you gotta pay for it because we don't want to host our wedding here. But no, that's not good enough apparently. Because like right now, you're letting your mother dictate every aspect about the wedding when it's not her wedding. It's you and your fiance's. Why does your mother have this much of a say in it? Your fiance already made compromises to not have the destination wedding and instead do it in a location that your mother would be comfortable in. But according to you, she's not making compromises. Instead, your mother gets every fucking say in the wedding, but your future wife is the brat? What are you on, dude? R/am I the asshole? Would I be the asshole public? Am I the asshole for being angry at my girlfriend because she didn't call a taxi? I'm sick. I'm better now. But last week, I couldn't handle it. So me, 27 female, and her, 26, got in a taxi and went to the hospital. Unfortunately, the first hospital was too crowded. There were people even outside. No one knew what was going on, and we left in the same taxi. We went to the second one. The waiting time was 4 hours, the doctor still didn't come. They sat us. We left without waiting. We went to the third hospital. I've been there a few times and I have to say it has good doctors, but getting out is awful. I waited for a taxi for half an hour last time. Buses run once an hour. Doctor saw me after 10 minutes, then the whole thing took 2 or 3 hours. They wanted to check my blood pressure, etc. Finally, they gave me an IV, and when it finished, the doctor told me he's gonna be right back and prescribed me some medication. While I was waiting for him, I went out in the hallway and told my girlfriend to call a taxi already. She complained a bit, but I told her not to worry and I will pay for everything. So even if a taxi arrives too soon this time, it won't be a problem. She left the hospital. I left after another 15 minutes, then I saw her sitting on a bench near parking, typing something on her phone. She had shopping bags next to her. I asked her what she was doing. She said she was calling a taxi. I asked her what she had been doing earlier. She said she had gone to a nearby store and bought us some food. I asked her if she could have called a taxi at that time. She said I still had to go to the pharmacy and the taxi would definitely be there by then. Great. The pharmacy was right by the hospital. It took me 5 minutes to get there and back. There was no taxi. There wasn't one for another 10 minutes, or after 20. We waited 40 minutes. By this time, I was feeling tired and angry. I was dizzy and just wanted to go to the bathroom and then to bed. I didn't have the strength to argue, so the entire ride was in silence. But when we got back, my girlfriend said, "Wow, it's already that late? I can't believe it took us this long." I told her, "Maybe it would go faster if you listened to what I was telling you." And I go to sleep. In the morning, she first didn't want to talk to me, and then when my family arrived, she started complaining that I yelled at her, and that how was she supposed to know that it will take that long this time too? Later, when we were alone, she said that the whole situation was stressful and she just wanted to help and at least buy us some food. I replied, "I understand that you're stressed, but I literally asked you for something. You literally know that there's a long wait for any transport there, but you still chose to wait until I left the doctor's, and I was tired too, and I really wanted to go home." She asked if I was still angry, and I replied, "Just a little, I'm mostly still tired." I thought we were over it after that, but then I got a text from a mutual friend saying it was overreacted. This week, my girlfriend is still cold and keeps bringing it up. We left home at 6 p.m. and we returned at 11 p.m. Edit. Okay, yeah, my girlfriend is coming back in 10 minutes. I'm waiting for her with dinner and then we'll talk. It was nice to argue, but I still have to change clothes and take a shower, so I think I'll end it here. Edit 2. We both had a conversation while eating her favorite dishes made by me, as an apology. Of course, I also told her that I was sorry. I told her that I felt overwhelmed and frustrated that day. Of course, I am grateful to her for being there for me and for thinking about shopping. But that day, I only saw negative things and wanted to go home. She also apologized for a comment she made at home and with my parents. She admitted that she did so hoping for some kind of reaction because she was pissed off that I was right and the taxi arrived late. Then we both complained that it was cold and we were pissed off and tired. I'm taking her on a date next week, I guess it'll be fine, and I still need to sign up for a gastroscopy. Edit 3 and last. Anyway, time for a massage for her from me, and the account is no longer needed, so I'm deleting it. Finally, thanks for all the opinions, although I admit that Reddit in your "you'll definitely break up over one bad experience" never stops to amaze me. God, I fucking feel that. So look, in the end, OP took accountability for their actions and so did their girlfriend because they were both equally in the right and wrong in this instance, and it was very clear that both of them were frustrated and probably not happy about having to find a hospital that would actually be able to treat them in time and dealing with all the complications going on. That's a pretty normal thing to deal with, and yeah, of course they're going to be stressed out about it, and there's definitely going to be a lot of emotions running high. But in the end, they sat down, they talked it through, and they communicated and made their way past it. So there's really not much more for me to add because they've already fixed the issue. And yeah, there definitely is a lot of room for arguing about who holds the most amount of blame in this instance, but in the end, communication was key and they worked past it, and they've even come to a common mutual understanding and apologized for where they felt they had wronged their partner and have moved past it. And yeah, 100% the fact that Reddit does have a really bad habit of over the most minor inconvenience that they'll jump straight to, "Can't wait for the update post asking why you're now single." Like, Reddit does have a really bad problem about that. And like, you also gotta remember, there is fault on both sides here. It can definitely be argued who has more fault, but on one hand, OP's girlfriend stuck by their side, went with them to multiple hospitals, waited by their side, even got groceries, and was just ready to help at a moment's notice. OP gave one instruction to their girlfriend of, "Hey, by the way, the taxis take a long time to show up, so make sure you call them as soon as you can. I would rather pay for the extra fare cost than to wait for who knows how long for the taxi to actually show up." Girlfriend didn't take her advice seriously, decided not to call the taxi, and they ended up waiting almost an hour for the taxi to show up. Not saying they're equal, not saying one is more justified than the other, but I'm just saying that frustration can be found on both sides. But in the end, it does seem that OP has apologized for her behavior, and her girlfriend did apologize for the mistake that she made, and in the end, they communicated through it, and it seems they're moving on. But how do you all feel? I'd be curious to see what you all think in the comments on this general instance. Originally posted to r/AmITheAsshole, would I be the asshole public? Am I the asshole for telling my friend she's not as skinny as she thinks? Last Friday, I, 22 female, went shopping with a friend, Olivia, 22 female. Olivia tried a pair of jeans in her usual size and it fit too loose on her waist, so she commented that, since that size usually fits, she probably lost weight and is now too skinny, so she needs to eat more because being underweight is dangerous. Olivia has never been skinny, let alone underweight, and I don't think she lost weight either, or at least I didn't notice. So I told her not to worry about it. Her body is not the problem, it's just that pair of jeans that are looser than her usual size, which can happen, not all brands are the same. I can't tell you how she took it, but she said something about being in a healthy body and not needing unnecessary weight loss, which is not what I was suggesting. For some context, I have a history of anorexia. I'm better now, but for years I had no idea what I looked like. I thought I was much bigger than I actually was, so body image is still a very sensitive topic among my loved ones. I don't know if Olivia felt judged or thought I was commenting on her weight because of my disordered relationship with food and body weight, but that was not the case. Sure, I don't agree that she's too skinny or needs to gain weight to be healthier, but I've been careful not to mention that and just suggest to buy a smaller size. Edit. I figured y'all are probably Americans because you lack reading comprehension skills, so I'm going to break it down in an easier way. Olivia tries on jeans and notices they are too loose. Do you think I'm losing weight? Am I too skinny? Me. Maybe this specific pair of jeans fits differently than your other jeans. I'll bring you a smaller size. Olivia, are you sure? I really hope I'm not too skinny because that wouldn't be good. Now please tell me how this is judging someone's body, darlings. Little heart fucking emoji thing. Edit 2, just let me add, the way some of you have been treating me in the comments shows exactly why so many people are afraid to disclose their mental health issues, even when they're recovered. Do better and start treating mentally ill people like actual people. The edit described is an entirely different conversation than what was described in the post. Let me tell you what, like that they are not even correlative in any manner. Like if she had taken it as, oh, I realize that the way that I described events is being misinterpreted, let me just kind of rework this and explain what I actually meant to say because I clearly did not properly explain what I actually meant. Instead, it's, y'all must be Americans because you're lacking reading comprehension. So let me explain it in a way that definitely was not even close to being what was explained in the original post. Girly pop, you were being rude to your friend and it came off in a way that you probably didn't intend. That happens, especially with English not being your first language, because I checked your post history. Instead, what it feels like is you didn't like the fact that a lot of people were probably calling you out for making your friend feel insecure about their weight, so you doubled down and changed the narrative of the post. Because what you described wasn't, maybe this specific pair of jeans fits differently than your other jeans, I'll bring you a smaller size. The wording you used, in the title by the way, which you can't edit, was, am I the asshole for telling my friend she's not as skinny as she thinks she is? The devil's in the details, bestie. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code Oz at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.